Okay. One thing that I've learned through conversations with older men, okay, things that I've been through personally and things that my friends and relatives have been through is that loneliness is very powerful in terms of its effect on women. And women, because of the power of loneliness, will seek to be in a relationship with a man, whether it's being a boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or somewhere in the middle, because of loneliness. Not because they want to build, not because they want to, do the whole family thing or have the whole companionship, but they just do not want to be lonely. They don't want to be by themselves. It is what it is. So they have no intention of, being this group type of person where it's about the collective and not the individual. They just don't want to be lonely. Okay? And this will compel a girl to tell you anything you want to hear. Okay? It will compel a girl to want to get married. It will compel a woman to want to have children. All for the sake of not being lonely. Okay? And once again, there is no, I want to do the whole group thing, the whole collective. No. Okay? I'm not saying all women are like this. But I'm saying that there are some who will want exactly what the family-oriented woman wants. But she doesn't want the whole family side. She just does not want to be lonely. And this is very dangerous. Okay? For a man, very dangerous. So the question is, how do you know? How do you, not be the guy who ends up with a chick who really doesn't want to be in the whole family situation, but one who does not want to be lonely? How do you know? Well, first of all, any relationship is going to have problems. You're going to have problems. It is what it is. But you have to look at the type of problems you have. Simply put, you just have to look at the type of problems. Now, if she is somebody who's trying to perpetrate, if she is somebody who really wants to be this, individual, okay, she's going to have problems that deal with being selfish, i.e., her just being a selfish person, being, self-centered, her maybe being materialistic, her having other relationships with men, whether it's, some sort of contact with an ex-boyfriend, or, her just having casual relationships. I'm not talking about sleeping, but just relationships with men, right? The whole idea is, he's my friend. Who cares if he's a male? Yeah, we went out to dinner. Like those sort of problems. Maybe drinking, smoking, foul language. She can't really cook or, make sure that you are nourished. What I mean by that is, maybe she doesn't cook physically, but she tells you, hey, go to the store and, get dinner started, or, pick up this, and when I get home, I'll fix it up. Like, she takes no effort in making sure that you as a person are nourished physically, nutritionally. She takes no effort to make sure that you eat well. Whether or not she's cooking, okay, it's more so about the effort. Does she make sure that, you ate something healthy? Right? Does she make sure that, there's food in the house? She may not be able to cook, like I said before, but you can still make sure that people are eating and eating properly. So if you have problems centered around, the things that I listed, chances are she's not family oriented. So there's no point in even working through those problems, because those are the signs of somebody who's selfish in nature. And from my point of view, you can't change that. I can't make you be team-oriented or family-oriented. I can't make you do that. That's something that you have to do on your own. That's something that you have to figure out who you are as a person. So once again, if you're a dude, okay, and you're in, some sort of relationship, and, you really have that issue where you don't know, to be honest with you. You really don't know if she's there for the right reasons or if she's there because she doesn't want to be alone, or, because she's up there in age and this, that, and the third. You have to ask yourself those questions. It's funny because I have a friend who has been trapped. I wouldn't even say trapped, but chose to stick around in a relationship for a very long time, and it really severed a lot of the relationships that he's had, with some of my other fellas, because of this whole very notion. They would go through all these problems, all the problems that I listed. She would have, but she would tell him she's family oriented. She doesn't want to be alone. She sold the whole idea that she wanted to be in a relationship. Okay, but in reality, all the problems that they had were based off of somebody being selfish. It wasn't the fact that they had problems. It was the nature of the problem. So you really have to break it down and look at it. Like I said before, how many black women do we know that are materialistic? Okay, how many black women do we know who has, several relationships with different men? I'm not saying that they're sleeping with these men, but they just have a whole bunch of relationships with men, right? Just for the sake of, how many black women will tell you, oh, they don't cook, they're too busy, they have a career, it's 2010, right? It's all there. So I'm not saying this to put the women down, but I'm more so speaking to the dudes. Just look at the type of problems you have, right? It's not something to shake your head over or be embarrassed about that, you may have problems with somebody. Everybody has problems, right? That's perfectly normal. But if you have a certain type of problem, then, honestly, you may need to reconsider moving on, because all the evidence points to her being somebody who's very self-centered, and it's just somebody who doesn't want to be lonely. And once again, for men, the way we deal with loneliness is a whole lot different, okay, than women deal with it. And for men, we can maintain it, we can manage it, but for a lot of women, they simply can't. Okay, like I said before, there's no reason to why marriage is still around. For years, women have always talked about how marriage has oppressed them, and men have been so controlling, and now they can work and do for themselves. Why not do away with marriage? Why is marriage still around? If it was a tool of oppression, why is it still around? Right? If you want to explore your avenues and do what you want to do, you don't need to be a mother, or you don't need to define yourself in regards to your relationship with a man, fine. But why is it still around? Right? Because of loneliness. Not to say that all women fall into that category, but for the most part, there's a lot of women who just don't want to be lonely, and they have no intentions of doing the whole family type thing whatsoever. But the power of loneliness will eventually force them to try to make some man marry them, and if they have to go as far as to have some kids, they will. Simple as that. And unfortunately, most women can learn to be mothers, but in terms of being a wife, don't get that twisted. They're related, but not necessarily, player. Right? She can love being a mother, but not necessarily want to be a wife. Hence the whole idea of even women nowadays choosing to be single mothers. There's women out here who know for a fact they don't want a husband, and they still have kids. Don't get it twisted. No longer do we live in this world where a lot of chicks are just getting accidentally pregnant. They're choosing to, become mothers, and they don't want to be wives. But once again, the power of loneliness will compel a lot of these women to try to sell themselves as wives. And once again, all you need to do is look at the problems that you have, because your ass will have problems. So, hopefully I was pretty thorough, and you guys, got what I'm trying to communicate. You guys know the drill. Take it easy. God bless.